You do have to get older. Thank God. I mean, that's a privilege. A privilege is getting older. So you do have to get older, but you don't have to suffer through menopause. Hi, guys. Today we are going to talk about what I'm going through. This is not medical advice. This is not a substitute for medical advice. This is only my experience and my story, and that alone. Okay. So I am going through perimenopause. I'm 43 years old, and it is a part of life. One thing that I did learn, few things that I did learn. Did you know that a woman will never have more eggs than they do at 5 months in utero? After that, it's all downhill from there. Did you also know that at age 30, you now will only have, on average, 10% of the eggs that you were born with? At the age 40, you'll only have 3% left. Of course, those statistics are average. However, that says a lot. You're born with like 1 million eggs. That's a lot. That sounds like a lot, but it's really not, because every single time you ovulate, you lose 10,000 eggs, and only one, maybe two, if you end up with, like, how are they called, fraternal twins, will actually win the battle and be able to be expelled if you don't become pregnant. And if you do become pregnant, become a baby. I have been going through perimenopause. Well, at least I've been symptomatic for, I would say about 2 years, but I didn't know. I did not know. Some of the symptoms that I was having that are strange symptoms that I never knew was itching internal ear canals, like right in here, this part, not deep inside, but like this part of your ear, this part, not necessarily the lobe or the outside, which is different. So apparently, because the skin is different, but this part, itching insanely, incredibly dry skin, which I have eczema, so it's always dry, but incredibly dry skin. It's been different for the last couple of years. Having like a feeling of having something crawling under your skin. You know what I'm talking about? Where you feel like, oh, blah, 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 but you don't know what it is. And it's like this strange sensation on your skin. Those, muscle pain, increased muscle pain, increased or just period joint pain, especially in your knees and back, frozen shoulder. I do believe that I've caught it very, very early, but that feeling, like even right now it itches. Like, when you find, when you sleep on your arm, I'm a side and stomach sleeper, preferably. Like, that is my absolute preference, is to sleep on my side of my stomach. I do sleep on my back too, but I will always, I toss and turn all night long. So those are, my preference is my side and my back. I'm sorry, my side and my stomach. But sometimes when you sleep on your side, you hurt your shoulder pretty badly. Like, you wake up and it hurts. It, like, you feel like you can't move it. Like, even this is as high as I can go. This arm, this is as high as I can go without pain. Like, it's even like shooting pain down my like, I can't explain it, but it hurts. So hopefully I've caught it early enough to where we can get it corrected without having to go into complete physical therapy and those kinds of things. Now, there are a couple of options that are available to me. I'm going to use you and me probably interchangeably, but I'm really talking about me because, again, this is my experience. Starting to get some dryness, some vaginal dryness, headaches, mood swings, dizzy, changes in vision. I don't get it anymore very much, but I used to get tendinitis a lot. What I have done, let me try. I didn't know because hold on, I want to take this part off just so I can show you freely without like accidentally showing you private information. But I didn't know that hormone tests are no longer like the gold standard for seeing if you're in menopause, perimenopause. Instead, the gold standard is now your symptoms. Because apparently while you're in perimenopause, until you are postmenopausal, is when your hormones will not fluctuate as severely anymore. So they can really tell with those tests. Prior to that, there really isn't a way for them to know because your hormones fluctuate all day, every day. So if they were to test me right now, I could have normal levels. If they were to test me in an hour, I could have plummeted levels. So there's just really no way to know using that. So now the gold standard is by your symptoms. And again, I had a lot of the symptoms that are related to menopause, perimenopause. Again, I'm 43. I've been on my period since I was 9. So 34 years is a very long time. And I always knew I would go into menopause early. They always tell you, you can tell like when you're going to go into menopause by when your mother or your grandmother, the other females in your family go into menopause. However, nobody knows when my grandma went into menopause. She had my mom when she was in her 40s, I think 44. But after that, nobody really knows. My mother was put into menopause by surgically because she had to have a full hysterectomy when she was like 37, maybe. She wasn't before 40 because she had just had one. She had one when she was 35. And then she had to have a complete hysterectomy, which to this day, I'm pretty sure, but we don't know because she doesn't remember whether or not she had one or both her ovaries removed. We believe she did because right after, I do remember them telling her about estrogen and like these things that she needed to like start using. So for me, my options were, because I no longer have a uterus, so I no longer need progesterone. The one thing I will tell you is if you have a uterus, if you have uterine lining, you should not be strictly on estrogen alone. You need to be on estrogen and progesterone together in combination, because estrogen alone can increase the risk for uterine cancer. But for me, because I don't have a uterus anymore, I don't need the progesterone. I only need the estrogen. So what we did, because I was still within my time frame, like my OBGYN did not want me starting any hormone replacement therapy until 6 weeks after my surgery. So I had to be 6 weeks post-op, which is today. Today is day 6 weeks. And until that time, I was having some really severe vaginal dryness and pain. There was a lot of pain involved in my vagina after my surgery. And we didn't know if it was strictly the surgery or if it was pain also related to the dryness that I was experiencing. We didn't know. We're pretty sure it was a mix of both. So what they did was started me on estradiol vaginal cream 0.01%. Okay. This is my second tube. My directions say to insert 1 gram vaginally nightly for the first 2 weeks. Then after that, once weekly. Okay. With this, it also says check with your doctor before including grapefruit or grapefruit juice in your diet. So apparently that's something you shouldn't be having. This is my brand new tube, so it's never been opened. So I'm going to just show you. This is a metal container, a metal tube. It has the same way like my retinol, which is another thing. I was terrified to mix this up with my retinol or tretinoin. I was terrified to mix this up with my tretinoin because you do not want to put tretinoin inside your vagina, and you do not want to put, I mean, you can, some people do, put estrogen on their face. So it would have been completely okay. I would have rather put estrogen on my face than put tretinoin in my vagina. So it has this, and then it has this, and it tells you like the measurements. This is the applicator tube. This needs to be hand washed prior to use. And then once you are done, You wash it again because this will be reused until this tube is gone. Okay. And it does tell you the number of doses per tube will vary with dosage requirements and patient handling. So in other words, however many doses is going to be for me, it may not be the same for you because you may require, you know, I don't know, 2 grams an application, 1.5 grams an application, half a gram, and I require 1. So this is what I was using for my first 6 weeks. And now I am switching to an estradiol 0.5 milligram tablet. So I have to take this once a day. This is a 90-day supply. Now I did a lot of reading and it does say to take at the same time every single day. You could take it anytime you want of the day. This is what it looks like, tiny little white capsule. Or it is recommended to take at night prior to bed because it can also help you sleep, because there's another thing that I struggle with is staying asleep or falling asleep. And perimenopause can also do that to you. But it can also give you constipation and diarrhea. There's so many things that it can do to you. Like, it's insane, the things that it can do to you. So again, this is my journey. This is what I've chosen to do. I've chosen to switch over to the tablets because I am very uncomfortable putting the cream into my vagina every, week or whatever, because now it's once a week, because I'm not gonna lie to you. It's hard. It's hard for me to do it because I, have had double carpal tunnel surgery. You could see my scars right here. So my hands don't have as much strength as people who have not had that. Plus, I'm still 300 pounds. It's not easy to bend my body in ways to do it on my own. Without help, I struggle, just so you know. I don't know why, but for this one, for the cream, this tube was $65.04, okay? My plan covered $35.04, so my payment was $10. $10 for the cream, okay? For the pills, this is a 90-day supply again. So in total, it's $5.44. My plan paid $0. So I paid the whole $5.44, which is not that big a deal because it's $5.44 for 3 months. But why didn't they pay even anything? I've had medications, like my vitamin D only cost me 96 cents on average because it's like $3 or something, and the insurance pays most of it and I pay the rest. How come I'm not paying like 44 cents or something? I don't know. But that is what I have chosen to do. I could have done a patch, which I do not know what it would have been had I paid full price, because the price checker on Caremark, who is my pharmacy benefits manager or whatever, I can't figure out how to make it price that particular medication. So I don't know what it would cost me. But I have severely sensitive skin. I'm allergic to latex, so that makes it hard for me to use a lot of adhesives. There's a lot of adhesives that I end up having allergic reactions to. That means for me that patches just aren't the best option. So I chose to go the tablet route. For me, this is probably going to be the best bet. Again, it is very low dose. It is an extremely low dose, even lower than what most people start out at 1 milligram. I'm starting out at half because my doctor is very concerned about the possibility of blood clots because of the fact that I am only 6 weeks post-surgery. So we're going to do this for 3 months. After that, I have an appointment to go back and we're going to, reevaluate things and see if I need to go up, which she says I probably will, but for now we want to be on the safe side. So I'm only taking half. Now, there's a lot of different things with menopause. Menopausal symptoms. Okay. Perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause are all different. There's even pre-menopause, which comes before perimenopause. So all of those things are different, but I'm going to use the words probably interchangeably because for my particular time frame, I'm in perimenopause, but it's a really long word and sometimes I forget. Menopause itself is only one day. That one day, 366th day, that you have not had a period. That entire day marks menopause. After that day, so 367th day, you are now in postmenopause. It's a 24-hour period to be in actual menopause. So whatever. I get confused with all of the terminology a lot, so I just, whatever. Do you know what the number one killer of women is globally? Heart disease. Heart disease is the number one killer of women. Do you know what happens to you after menopause? Your risk of heart disease skyrockets. You have estrogen receptors in every single cell and organ in your body, every single one. However, estrogen severely declines through menopause. Our natural ability to create enough that we need. It's in our brains, it's in our hearts, it's in our lungs, it's everywhere. It's in our entire bodies from head to toe. Studies show that women who begin hormone replacement therapy within 10 years of menopause and before the age of 60 severely decrease their risk of contracting heart disease. Did you know that Hispanic women, as well as Black women, will suffer through menopause at a higher rate than any other race? Nobody knows why that is. There's no rhyme or reason to it. They only know that the studies have shown Hispanic women and Black women will suffer far more greatly through menopause with their symptoms, with their whatever happens to them. They just suffer more. So I'm Hispanic. I'm a second generation American. My mother's parents come from Guanajuato in Mexico. My mother was born in California, and so was I. My father's parents come from Texas. His family on both sides have been in Texas since it was Mexico. And I am a mix of that. But I'm Hispanic. And because I'm Hispanic, I know that the statistics show that I'm going to suffer far more greatly through menopause than any other race. And there's nothing I could do about that except try to get ahead of it. Try to get ahead of the game. Menopausal women, postmenopausal women will get an osteoporotic break. So basically, osteoporosis comes from there's a lot of studies that show that the lack of estrogen through your bones is what makes them become more brittle and what causes the osteoporosis for women. Now, because of that, women postmenopause will suffer a break, an osteoporotic break in their body. And a very high percentage of those women will die from that break, from the recovery of that break within a year of having that break. And then the other, something like 30%, will survive but get a second break and then end up not surviving that. And those are very scary odds. It increases your risk of becoming type 2 diabetic, which means it increases your risk of insulin resistance. I'm already clinically a type 2 diabetic. I already have more insulin resistance through the insulin resistant type of PCOS that I have, plus hypothyroidism makes me severely insulin resistant. I don't want to add more to that because I was afraid to try things. I've done so much research. I have read every menopause book that I could get my hands on. I have listened to every podcast. I have listened or watched every video that I can find. I have literally spent hundreds of hours watching, listening, reading about menopause and the studies and the Women's Health Institute studies that came out showing that it increased your risk of breast cancer to take hormone replacement therapy, which they never finished the study and they completely stopped recommending it for women, which is why so many OBGYNs to this day still do not have the current updates for menopausal women, perimenopausal women, postmenopausal women, what they should be doing, because it is so widely accepted that you should not be on hormone replacement therapy because it increases the risk of breast cancer. But they have walked that back. Every single allegation in that study has been walked back. I'm within that 10-year mark of having menopause. There's no way for me to know when I hit menopause now because I no longer have a uterus, so I will no longer have a period. So I will have what's considered surgically induced menopause. On December 4th of 2025 will be my 1 year. So on December 5th of 2025, I will technically be considered in menopause. And then the very next day, I will be considered postmenopause, but surgically induced. So there's no way for anybody to know when I would have actually physically hit that on my own. No way, which is fine. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue to study about it. I'm going to continue to learn about it. I'm grateful that my particular OBGYN is knowledgeable about menopause and the new standards. But don't be afraid to ask. Just because she's an OBGYN or he's an OBGYN, just because your doctor is an OBGYN does not mean that they are up to date on what the standards are for menopausal therapy in these days. They understand now that although menopause is something that can cause a lot of stress and pain and emotional damage to someone, you don't have to suffer. You do have to get older. Thank God. I mean, that's a privilege. A privilege is getting older. So you do have to get older, but you don't have to suffer through menopause. Not everybody is going to be a good candidate for hormone replacement therapy. Not everybody's going to want to do it, and that's okay. You don't have to do it just because I'm doing it. But because you choose not to do it doesn't mean that I have to choose not to do it. I am choosing to do whatever it is that I can, and I'm going to use it, and I'm going to monitor how things are going. And they say once you start taking it, after 2 years, you should stop for, I think they say like a month, and see if your symptoms come back, because I have night sweats like nobody's been every single night. Every single night. I wake up in the middle of the night. I wake up in the morning in a puddle of sweat. Every single night since I had my hysterectomy. Before my hysterectomy and the removal of my left ovary, I was having night sweats regularly, but not every single night. Definitely not every single night. But I am having them every single night now. There has not been one night since then in the past 6 weeks that I have not had incredible night sweats. And they've now moved to me having heat flashes during the day. Because I had never experienced a heat flash in the day until I started getting night sweats every single night. And then probably about 2 weeks into having it every single night, I started getting hot flashes during the day. So so after that, they say to stop, see if your symptoms return. And if they don't, then you may be free to stop your hormone replacement therapy. That is something I will discuss with my doctor. So the whole point is that don't be afraid to ask how knowledgeable your doctor is on menopause, current menopause protocols. Don't be afraid to do your own research. There is so much information out there. I've read, I'm actually at the end of, so I'm not completely done with it, but the book is called The New Menopause by Dr. Mary Claire Harbour. And there's I think I have 2 chapters left, and that's it. And it's very, very interesting. It comes with some PDFs that you can download about like symptoms and a symptom checker, so that you could like score them from 0, 1, 2, and 3. 3 being the severe, 2 being moderate, 1 being light, and 0 being not at all. And some of those symptoms are hot flashes, lightheaded feelings, headaches, irritability, depression, unloved feelings, anxiety, mood swings, sleeplessness, unusual tiredness, backaches, joint pain, muscle pain, new facial hair, dry skin, crawling feelings under the skin, less sexual feelings, dry vagina, uncomfortable intercourse, and urinary frequency. There are so many more symptoms. These are just the main symptoms. And then you score yourself, what have you. And then if you score so high, then it tells you, you know, the likelihood of you being in perimenopause is very high. Please, you know, talk to your doctor. And the good thing is that you can take that menopause checklist with you, so you can show them, you know, it's really, really beneficial for you to be able to document your symptoms and when they began and how severe they are, and all of those things. And it's only beneficial for you. So I really appreciated that. There's also a booklet. She also wrote a book called The Galveston Diet. There's a spider. She is located in the Galveston area here in Texas, so by Houston. There's a lot of new information out there that just wasn't available to us in the past. So I highly recommend that you, at the very least, start keeping track of any of those symptoms if you begin to get them, or if you already have them, and the, you know, severity of them, so that you can talk to your doctor about options for you. Because again, not everybody is going to want to do hormone replacement therapy, and that's fine. That is completely fine, as long as you know what your options are. Your options need to be addressed with you, whatever those may be. And whatever you choose to do is what's best for you. And that is completely okay, as long as you know that you have options. That's it. That's all I want for you, is for you to know you have options. You don't have to feel like I feel. I don't even feel like myself. Like, I don't know who I am anymore. This past year has been so hard on me, mentally, physically, emotionally. I am so grateful that I am past that. I still hurt over the morning of the loss of my uterus and the loss of possibilities from that. But I am so grateful over what I truly believe is yet to come for me. And I feel free in a way that I haven't felt in so long, probably ever. And I don't want anything to stand in the way of that, including myself and my own fears. So here's to hoping that this is going to help, because having hot flashes and having night sweats every single night is insane. The other day, it was like 19 degrees outside, and I'm not kidding. 19 degrees outside. Okay. That's cold. That is not hot. And I had a sweater with me. I left the sweater in the car because I was having a hot flash. And I was so hot that I couldn't take it anymore. So I took my sweater off while I was driving. I had to turn the air conditioner on. Once I got out of the car, the cold, freezing cold temperature of the air felt so good. I started walking into Costco, and suddenly, I would say maybe about a minute into the walk, suddenly I was freezing. I was shivering, had goosebumps. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on with me? Like, it's ugh. I don't like it. I don't like it. So if I can alleviate some of that, you know, because not being able to sleep is hard. When you can't sleep, that's very difficult. I want to be able to sleep. So once I'm able to do that, I know I will feel much better. So here's to hoping that 0.5 milligram is enough to at least keep the hot flashes and the night sweats to a minimum to where it's not waking me up in puddles every single day, because I have to wash my sheets every single day. I wash my pillowcases every day and my sheets every day because I wake up in a big ball of sweat and it's gross and I don't like it. So here's hoping that that works. Today is going to be my very first dose of this. I think I will wait until bedtime to take it. This is going to be a little tricky for me because starting next week, I go back to work and I'll be getting off at midnight. And then the following week, I will be getting off at 1:30 in the morning. So you're supposed to start and take them every day at the same time. So I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll figure it out. I hope you guys are having a great day. I want to give you guys some digital hugs. And are you going through menopause or perimenopause, or are you postmenopausal? Did you have bad symptoms? Are you having bad symptoms? Like, I want to hear all about it. What did you do? Are you doing anything to help that? My biggest concern is I don't want to increase my risk. I do not want to increase my risk of heart disease, any sort of cardiovascular disease. I don't want to, mess with my risk of higher A1C. I just don't want that. I don't want that. And I especially want to fight the Alzheimer's that comes along with being post. Do you know that being a woman simply means that you are at higher risk for Alzheimer's than men? Did you know that? Did you know that there are studies that show that in your brain, when they do brain scans of women compared to brain scans of men, there are no red flags in a man's brain of whether or not he will have Alzheimer's later on in life. But there are red flags in women's brains. And they believe that that is because of the decrease of the estrogen that women create. Men's estrogen levels never decrease. Their testosterone levels may decrease, but men create semen every single day. Every single day that creates testosterone in their body. Every single day until the day that they die. Women are born with every single egg that they will ever have. And once your ovaries stop releasing that egg, your body ceases to produce the amount of estrogen that is required to keep you functioning normally. There are brain scans that show the dramatic changes in a woman's brain. Perimenopause, postmenopausal. They're insane to see. It's insane to see. And I want to do everything I can to avoid that. Hope you guys are having a great rest of your day. Please remember to leave a comment down below. Go ahead and leave an emoji for today. We'll just leave the pill. You know that pill emoji? We'll leave that one here and let me know you got this far. We'll see you soon. Bye.